St. Matthew. St. Matthew. Chapter 1. St. Matthew's Gospel opens, the book of the generation of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. A genealogy runs from Abraham to Joseph, husband of Mary, divided into 3 periods of 14 generations each. Joseph was espoused to Mary, and before they came together she was found with child by the Holy Ghost, fulfilling the words, "A virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel." The child, when born, was called Jesus. There are obvious difficulties here which cannot be evaded. Jesus is called son of David and son of Abraham, what we would expect from a Jew who believed the Messiah must be of that line. But how is it proved? Joseph is shown to be of that race, yet declared not to be his father. Second, what has the arrangement of Jewish history into periods to do with the genealogy or the conception? Third, even granting the miraculous conception, how does it fulfill Isaiah's words which plainly speak of a child soon to be born, one too young to say "my father" or "my mother" before the 2 conspiring kings should be put down? Supposing the first 2 chapters spurious does not remove these difficulties, we would still have to explain how so inconsistent a story got assembled. Supposing St. Matthew an Ebionite does not help either, since belief in the miraculous conception was not characteristically Ebionite, the inconsistency remains. Nor does supposing 2 narratives spliced by a later compiler help. Why would he keep the genealogy unaltered instead of dropping it or fitting it to the conception story? But suppose St. Matthew started from the belief, common to all the evangelists, that Jesus was the eternal Son of God. Would his incarnation in a miraculous way seem strange to him, or might it seem the most natural way for such a person to enter the world, explaining the law of other births rather than merely accepting him from it? If so, would not all Jewish history seem to confirm it? Take the first name in the genealogy. Did not Isaac's birth teach Abraham, and through him the nation, that a child is God's gift, that even with a human father the child is still to be attributed to God as its true author? Given that first example, must not the whole line of Jewish children have been seen as witnesses to a mysterious divine paternity over the nation and its members? Did not every page of the prophets suggest that human relations had a divine counterpart, grounded in a relation not yet manifested? If this were Matthew's thought, is it strange that he traces the genealogy to Joseph rather than Mary? Would not the sudden break in the history at just that point be the clearest sign that its meaning was now disclosed, its ground brought to light? Then, son of David, son of Abraham, connects intelligibly with what follows. The Son of God is the heir of David's throne that all previous kings had testified to, and in him the covenant with Abraham, blessing to all families of the earth, is accomplished. On this view, we can easily see why Matthew pauses over the successive periods of Jewish history. He who came to gather up the people's history, who was to be the center of its ages, is about to be presented. No sharper way to signal that this is his subject, that the past is to be fulfilled in him. I use the word fulfilled, anticipating what follows. A virgin at the time Isaiah spoke to Ahaz did conceive and bear a son. We are told plainly that the prophetess did so in the 8th chapter. Far from overlooking this, I think St. Matthew wants us to remember it and its connection to what befell Ahaz and Israel. Ahaz showed utter faithlessness toward God's covenant, and because of that the Lord promised a sign showing that the fulfillment of the promises to David's house did not depend on his faithfulness or his house's. The sign given to Ahaz that his land would be preserved while Samaria and Syria were destroyed was fulfilled without delay or double meaning. But the sign's meaning could not be fulfilled unless a perfect king were actually given to David's house, one who was the Son of God. The sign itself was accomplished exactly as it would naturally be understood, not by any departure from ordinary conception and birth, though the prophet felt that he and his children were themselves signs and wonders from the Lord of hosts. But when the sign's full intention had to be fulfilled, it required that the sign itself be accomplished by an extraordinary yet, as I have dared to say, the most natural means by which so divine and so human a fact could occur.